It was a word. Okay? So I feel strongly to continue with that word. Okay? The dealings of God. In fact, the topic is still the just shall live by faith. But the emphasis is on the dealings of God. Indlela zikaThixo nabantu bakhe. You see, everyone that God used in the Bible and in our days, everyone God used, God had to deal with them. If ukuzibukele movies Nigeria, there's always a line ethi, I will deal with you. I will deal with you. Bonke, even the technician I will deal with you. Amen. So God deals with his people. Amen. God has dealings. So today we want to talk about that, the dealings of God. Psalms chapter 4 verse 3. Ndumiso chapter 4 verse 3. This verse blesses me greatly. If you understand this verse, you will understand that God has dealings. Okay? Iti. But no. Iti fanabuyazi lemfihlelo. But know that the Lord sets apart the godly for himself. The Lord sets apart the godly. Do we have a Xhosa version? Okay. Yazini ke ukuba uYehova uzibalulele owenceba. So God handpicks and chooses his choice people. So kukwabantu kukingoma ethi sebebutwa abakhethwa bengendiswa ekhaya othi yebo nanku mina. So siyazicula ezingoma, but we don't think about them. Ithi sebebutwa abakhethwa. So there are people God chooses. That's why the Bible said, but you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. Chosen. Chosen. Kundumiso 78. In the Bible, verse 72, he chose David. He chose. So God chooses people. Amen. So utila Psalms 4. Let's go back to Psalms 4. Psalms 4 verse 3. Know this. Know this. That the Lord has set apart the godly. As in versions is it, the righteous. He has set them apart. Ubekele buqala. Elagama, ligama, a theological term, ligama elithi consecrated. He has consecrated. He has set apart. Amen. So, difuna ke understand le mfihlelo. That's why ibalekile ndawo iqala ithi know that. Kukho abantu ihambo yabo engafaniyo nabanye. Explain njani story sika Joseph? How do you explain a person that is greatly loved yet greatly hated? How do you explain his story sika David? So today I want to talk about the dealings of God, but we're going to look at the life of Abraham. Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Say with me, the dealings of God. Tell the person next to you, God will deal with you. God will deal with you. Uyayazi bathini yazi bathini engcobo. Yaphosisa. But elalini bathi zakubonisa. Zakubonisa. In other words, I will deal with you. Bazalwane, God will deal with you. Mandithethe ngendlela ozoyiva ne. uThixo uzakwenzela ezibonwayo. Uqonda hayi Thixo. Uyadishana. Bazalwane, wakwadlula entweni. Wayibona ba ayinasandla sika Sathana kodwa lento imbi yona kodwa akho Sathana apha. uThixo lo akho Sathana kulento akho nto binder no loser apha because akho nto ndingayenzanga right but akho nto yenzeka right. God deals with people. When you have time, asoya kuyo Psalm 66. You, O Lord, has put us in fire. You has caused us to walk in many waters. You made men to walk over our head. You, O Lord, kukwi dealings zikaThixo. uThixo akuvimbi imali. Kuthi kongenela lo muntu azokunceda, axuthe naleya lo ukuncedayo because akafuna uncedwe. There are dealings of God. Ufumanisa ngo naba bebenendlela okunceda abanakwa. Amasithi yo mntase anakwa ubuqonda ba ndim uyona. Ndim lo udraya impokotho zabantu uyona ndim. It's the dealings of God. I mean, how do you explain the stories of the men of God, the things they go through, and the women of God? It's the dealings of God. Do you know why it's important that God deals with you? I'll tell you. So that CTCC will understand why it's important. You see, there are outcomes of the dealings of God with a man. The first outcome of God's dealing with a man is brokenness. The first outcome. Usenguwe uphelele awukabi ready for usetshenziswa because uzawubona umuntu odlule enhlungwini umjongele phansi ba hayi wena weak because wena uyazi inhlungu funeka uqhelane nenhlungu ukuthi xa kusebenzisa because akusebenza nabantu abanenhlungu uzakufaka ezimbandezelweni so funeka uqhelane nembandezelo ukwenzela ungabajongela abantu phansi abadlule ezintweni bazalwane Tikaqhalanisa nendlala. Ukhalazele nabantwana abagala ama-teaspoon ayi-4 eswekileni. Uyazi ba hayi udlule ezintweni ke bayamusha abantwana nakho egala ama-teaspoon ayi-4. Boyazi ba ingxaki yakho ayoswekile, ingxaki yakho kunqongophala kweswekile. Ayonje ba ulwela impilo yabo. Ungene behlafuna akho nto niyaziyo kule ndlu ngaphandle kokutya nihle nje nifuna ukutya uThixo uyaqhelanisa nezinto. So the dealings of God, it's God preparing your heart for the people He's going to use you to touch and bless. That's why He will. You see, a man like Joseph, when he had an opportunity to revenge, he said, don't worry, man. It's water under the bridge. What you meant for evil, God meant it for good. No. There's that word, usukiwe. Uyazi nto ifele, xa uthatha ifele ulisuke ulenze libe lihle libe yimethi. Xa uthatha ifele lenkomo lenze icarpet. La process kusukwa. Thixo uyamsuka umuntu. Siba nawo smooth unyathelwe ibe ngococolo kodwa unyathele wena usetyenziwe kuThixo. God can work a person's heart. God can work a person's heart. How do you explain the story of Job? Usibalisa njani uThixo uyabhosta umgalile na umkhonzi wami uYobi. The next step ithi kamzame. Try him. So the outcomes of the dealings of God is that you will be broken. You will be humble. Yes, humility. Uthobeke. Uthi da. Una 51. Udibana neboy ena 19, 20. Uthi eta. Sabakhronman usetyenziwe ngamazulu usetyenziwe ngamazulu uthi sisiwami emntaneni amazulu akulungisile God can work a heart. That's why the Bible warns us, says, humble yourself under the mighty hand of God. Because God cannot humble you, but He can only humiliate you. God can. Yabona uDavide. Do you know there was a time uDavide apha ekudilishweni koThixo naye, uDavide wafake impambano. Hebazana usengxakini xa ude uqonda ba le inye into ezandenza ndisurvive apha man act bengathi niphambene so that abantu xa benijaja banijaje njengomuntu ophambeneyo. Waziphambanisa uDavide. Ithi iBhayibhile he actually drew wasivuzisa izincwe. Akaphambana ikhona nto bakuthiwa waba nestress waphambana akaphambani xa uyaqonda into ezandinceda ndisurvive kuba ndiziphambanise. Okay. Now, let's look at God's dealing with Abraham. Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. The Lord said to Abraham, the Lord said to Abraham, go out of your land, your relatives, and your father's house. Go out. Mamela iti Bible, know this. The Lord sets apart the godly. Remember Paku Psalms 4, verse 3. Set apart. Ku set apart loka ka Abraham. Utiko dealing ka Abraham iti. Amp. Puma ezweni lako wenu. Puma kubantu bakho. Puma emzini kayise. So that was God's dealing with Abraham. Go out. Go out. Amen. So God deals with people differently. U-Abraham ne mamela mhlawumbe wena ucinga into encinci le. U-Abraham wayehamba notatakhe engumntakatata until ena 75. Una 75 uhlale back. Abraham wayena 75 ehlale back nonkosikazi wakhe. So uThixo wafika kuye wathi bra ayihambi ngolhlobo andikwazi ukusebenzisa unje. So now I need to change your mind. Somebody needs to help me with this dude that is enjoying himself. So God says, leave your land. Leave your land. Puma ezweni lako wenu. Leave your people. Leave your father's house. In other words, everything you know. It's like God is pulling the mat under his feet. At age 75, everything you know, leave. So God is setting him apart. Mamelage, for when it might not be hamba kokwenu, shiya abantu bakho, it might be wena awuzokwenza njengabo. Uyayazi la animosity yethi kaloku Miss Goody shoes. Miss Goody two shoes. Uyayiva? Miss bani? We miss two Goody shoes. But here's the point. The point is, God is calling Abraham to be different. He's saying, be different. Uthi eyamkelekileyo kwabanye ayamkelekanga kuwe. Bazawuyenza bona not wena. Bazawuzenza bona not wena. Wena uza kwahluka. Get out of that way of doing things. Get out of that black sheep in the entire household. Ufumaniswa kuzaba kwi family meeting awuzochazelwa wena phuto ungamchazeli uzayimosha. Because wena ubekelwe bucala. Hebazalwane kuyaziwa ba yo hayi ndicela ningamchazeli. Ungene literally change with topic. It's not because of anything. It's the dealings of God. Izakhethi wena uzomasuthi abandifuni klums abathethe awuyazi God is dealing with your heart. So God says go out. No, mamela ke ngoku. Get out of your father's house. To the what? To the land that I will show you. But you have to see this. The first thing Abraham uthi kwamxuthe yona is the first thing amnika yona. Uthi get out of your land. To the land I will show you. Xa exutha uneplan. Xa ekhupha entweni uneplan. Uthi phuma kweli lizwe. Uye kwilizwe enza kunika land for land. Land for land. Hey, I like it. I like it because in that land he is responsible for everything. Land for land. Ngapha buxhomeke kutata, ngapha uxhomeke kuThixo. Land for land. So don't resist when God separates you. Don't resist when God sets you apart because He always give land for land. Land for land. Verse 2. Now the Lord said to Abraham, verse 2. And I will make you a great nation. Nation for family. Buno brother babini. Buno brother one. Now you have 100 brothers, 200 sisters, you have daughters, you see, when God takes, He gives. And la leave was not forsake, abandon. It was just separate yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're going to bring that entire household into this household. So, I will make you a great nation. You left your family, God will give you a nation. I will bless you and make your name great. You left your father's house, great name. So, I'm trying to show you, mamelage, ayihambi ngolu hlobo ne. Awuphumi your land. Ungene kwi the land I will show you. Uphuma kwi your land. For 40 long years, you are on your way to the land I will. Ungahle usweleke ungekangeni. It depends on how quickly you change. Because you see, the wilderness is for the making of a man. God prepares His generals in the wilderness. Your difficulty is not your destiny, but your preparation. The quicker you submit and soften up in your wilderness, the quicker you enter your promised land. The journey was 11 days, but because of hardened hearts, they took 40 years. So, uThixo mosufani ne? Uthi uThixo kuMoses, ndibasa kwizwe elibaleka amasi nobusi ne? Into uThixo angayithethiyo kuba yabona ke kuze kubekho amasi funeka kubekho inkomo. Kuze kubekho ubusi funeka kubekho inyosi. Thixo akathethi ngawuphakula ba yabona ke funeka ufunde uphakula. Ungayi nje ezinyosini uqala uziqhumise buye nje ziza kuluma inyosi. Inkomo iyabotshelelwa umlenze, otherwise iza kukhaba inkomo. Uthixo azokuxelela ngokukhatywa kwezinkomo. Uthixo xa uzoxelela ngamasi nobusi, uzawufunda apha endleleni uba iyakhaba inkomo. Basop. Inyosi iyaluma inyosi basop. God does not tell you about the land in between. God will tell you about where you are and where He is taking you. God will not tell you about the land in between. Uyifumana phambili ba ya neshoqwazi yaduma. Are we together? I'm talking about the dealings of God. Mamela, uYosef unephupha. Uzibona abantakwabo nabazali bakhe beguqa kuye. Akho ne glimpse yetolonko. Ne glimpse yoba uzofakwa emngcunyweni. Ne glimpse yoba uzoba likhoboka. Ubone nje kuguqwa phambi kwakhe. And then there's a land in between. You see, the land in between is for the preparation of your heart. So God deals with you to prepare your heart. Kukho abantu uThixo angakwazi ubanika nto ingako ngoba bona qala ayingobantu abakwazi ukwamkela. Mandikucacisele nje uThixo xa sithi awukwazi ukwamkela. Wena happy, and it sounds right. Ungayijustify le nto ndizayithetha qomba i-right nje le nto kuthena usitsho nje, but i-wrong. Kukho abantu abathi xa benento bazimvuze. Khawubambe tata manje Nkosi ikusikelele. Khawubambe Nkosi ikusikelele. Xa bengenanto bona bakwazi ukwamkela mntwini. Xa ndinomphi 20 rand ngokathi ndithi ndibona wena ngabantu banayo nasenti. Yo hayithi yi-pride. Because this is God's provision, providing for you. Now xa eprovide kuwe ngomntu wena uthi ndithi ndibona wena nguthatha Thixo bandiyasokola. Hayi Thixo wam. Buthandazele umsebenzi. Xa kungekabikho umsebenzi use-wilderness, uThixo ukupha imana. Kukho abantu abafika bephethe iplastic bashiye nansi igrocery. Kukho abantu abathi khawuthathe nansi ishirt, wena uthi Thixo ndithi ndibona nguthatha, awukabi ready. Because bekufanele uba uthi Thixo ndiyabulela. Uyanibona Thixo ndiyamkela. Most yabantu, they can't receive. They want God to position them for giving, and that's very important. But you can't be positioned for giving if you have never been able to receive. Receiving is as important, because God is going to use people to take you to your next level. The dealings of God. Amen. Can you imagine ubangu Elijah? I mean, Umam boy was actually sharing a offering. Uyi prophet. Uti akuzonetha kunganethi. Uti kuzawunetha kanthema kunethe. Ugqiba kwakho awuzazi noba uzawulala utye ntoni. Central literally awuyazi nyani. Iwes ke ngokuthi kungathumeli nomuntu athumele intaka. Gqi ihlungulu. Libambe ilantuka i-drumstick. Nezilise eziyi-2 zesonka. So you drop a boom. Hey Thixo, didn't fit with intaka. It's the dealings of God. It's the dealings of God. Into ebalulekileyo class season, lungisa inhliziyo yakho msinyane. Xa uphiwe isonka uthi Thixo ndiyabulela ukuba unguJehova Jireh. You are God that provide. Xa umuntu asithi suwaranza kubhatalela uthi oh, that's the provision of the Lord. Many people cannot see the hand of the Lord in the time of their difficulty. Uyazi bathini? Bathi bengekho ngcono eyiphutha. Put a big cucumbers. He was of all the things you can remember. Senza uthi ukusezwe lesithembiso wena uqonda ba ndifuna ubuyele emva at least beke cucumbers. Awuthi not beke beef ke noko ke siyazi ba. Yevane? Now listen to this. Do you know iti Bible God destroyed them all only for one reason. Go and check it. For murmuring. Uthixo zange abadestroyele ntoni, wabadestroyela ugramblisha, bayambombozela. Ndingotheni mna Thixo, abanye abantu bafumana ii-breakthroughs, abanye batheni, ndingotheni. But have you counted the blessings of the Lord upon your life? Have you seen the daily provisions? Have you seen God daily intervening in your life? Why is it that you can't see the hand of the Lord? Why is it that you can't see the provisions of God? So one of the things that the dealings of God will help you with, help you to see the hand of the Lord. I'll tell you something right now. Sonke apa. There is a moment where you could have died, but you didn't. There's a moment where you could have died, but you didn't. And many of us never think, why am I still here? How come I am still here? We never think that way. Never. We don't think that way. Because for some reason, city, whatever will be shall be. Whatever has been will be. Sinalontoba, it's fate. We don't see God in the equation. So, the dealings of God will help you to recognize God in your daily living. That's why uDavide esithi ukuba ibingenguye uYehova ongeqala lethu makatsho uSirayeli athi ukuba ibingenguye uYehova eqala lethu. Uthi kuverse 7 intshaba zethu ngezisiqwenge siphila. uNdumiso chapter 127. Uthi sisindile okwentaka emgibeni. We have escaped like a bird from the snare of the fowler. So we need to be appreciative of God's hand in our lives. So uthi Abraham, get out, leave your land, leave your people, leave your father's house. I will take you to a place I will show you. And then God says, I will bless you. I will make through you the nations of the earth will be blessed. I'll make you a great nation. I will bless you. Through you the nations of the earth will be blessed. Whoever blesses you will be blessed. Whoever curses you will be cursed. Into verse 4. And Abraham left as the Lord commanded him. Now, Hebrews chapter 11. I need to put it together right now. Hebrews chapter 11. Let's look at verse 8. Verse 8, yes. It is by faith, Abraham, when called to go to a place he would later receive as an inheritance, obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going. He did not have an address. He did not know where he was going. Akanazi details zingaphaya. Akananto ingaphaya angayicacisa. Xa kunobuzwa ba uyaphi, uAbraham akanangcaciso. Uthi kuthe maniphume. Uthi kuthe mandiye kwilizwe azandibosa. Uthi kuzandibonisa. You see, that's what people of faith does. They just go as the Lord leads them. In the Bible, Abraham did not know. Let me tell you something. 2003, I read Genesis chapter 12. I heard the Lord clearly saying, get out of your land. Get out of leave your people. Leave your father's house to a place I will show you. I mean, that kwela ibaska inter Cape on my way to Cape Town with no details. When I left, I did not know this was going to be a result. I did not know that I would be standing here. All I know, I read Genesis chapter 12. It became alive in my spirit, and I landed in Cape Town. That's all I know. Amen. Beloved, when we talk about dealings of God, Abraham was 75 without a child, was 99 without a child. And God said, I will bless you, Abraham. What blessing will you give me, seeing that I have no child? God was dealing with him. God was dealing with him. Amen. You see? Apha ngoku, apha kweligumbi, akho mntu nozathi kum, ba hayi, wena mfundisi awunderstand, usijongela phansi siyasokola. Hey. Andiqondi uba uyayazi intsolo njengam. Ungamisa ngosokola wena. Wake wathi wena. I graduated in 2001. Mathematical statistics and computer science were my majors. And I got an opportunity to work for Old Mutual, and God said no. People offered me jobs. Man, suwara man, taksota. It was excellent. But I made a choice because I was set apart. I said no. And God should say no. And but I know what I have heard. Yes, I know what the Lord has said to me. And if I say yes to you, I'm saying no to God. I'd rather say no to you. Did he yes to God? Because if I did not make these decisions, I would not be here today. Do you know what that led to? It led to me nesidanga. Ndiye ku-krap. Ndiyokhangela impahla yonxiba. Ukhangela uba nawufumana ibhrukhwe ye-R5, izihlangu ze-R13, ishirt yantontoni. That's how I lived. Yes, in my 20s, with a qualification, with what was considered at the time a scarce skill. But I said yes to God because He set apart the godly. Know this. He set apart the godly. Know this. Kukho abantu uThixo athi hayi suwara. Ubona abantu wafunda nabo esikolweni. Hayi kodwa Thixo jonga banemoto. Athi uThixo ndiyimoto yakho. Banezindlu athi uThixo mna ndiyindlu yakho. Ufunde ugqibelela kuThixo. The day you learn, but it's not the shoe you wear. It's not the clothes you wear. It's who you are in God. It's who you, everything else is an addition. God has dealt with you. He learned to Paul a city. You see, you cannot, I'm not phased. With 50,000 rands in my account, with 5 rands in my account, I was born. I'm not fazed by how things are on the outside because God has dealt with me. You take everything away, I'm still here. You give me everything, I'm still here. I remember as a young Christian, after I've said yes to God, I remember like yesterday praying a prayer, God, never give me a suit that will make me not to kneel before you. Never give me clothes that will make you not to bow before me. You know, it's the dealings of God. It's the dealings of God. You see, if you can only be defined by address, like it's in address, Camps Bay, God can change your address any day. It can be from Camps Bay to COVID, to Nkanini, to Ntondo. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. But I would rather it in Nkanini to Camps Bay. Hey, it's the dealings of God. God is able to change things around. But listen to me. It's immaterial. Xa uhlale Camps Bay, uvizitele usister wakho osenkanini, ohleli phezu kwekrate. Uhlale phezu kwekrate ungapretend. Nyani akho nto uyifilishayo, akho nto ikumuvayo. Xa ibeka umphokoqo apha namasi uyatya because uqhelene nezinto. You are not moved. Xa eza kwakho awuthi xa bengena emnyango khulani hlangu. It means God has not dealt with you yet. Because when you are still attached to things, i-value yakho isesezintweni awukaqali noThixo. Awukaqali. No, I'm serious. Awukaqali. You have not started. Think about Jesus. King of kings and Lord of lords. Xa engena kuculwa hosana enyangweni. Uze khwela idonki. Apha amahasho kulwa fondi. Anti inkosi yamakhosi khwela idonki. Picture so I want to show you that if you're going to walk with God, you're going to face contradictions in your life. You're going to face contradictions. Here's Abraham with a great promise, but he's still dealing with issues of andinamntwana. He's still dealing with issues of Thixo undisapi. These are the dealings of God. So kukho abantu apha xa ujonga ubomi bakho nawe uxakiwa uzazi nobuyaya nobuyabuya. Linye icebo, hlala kuThixo qha. Hlala kuThixo. I can tell you certain things. Things that personally I have experienced. How you get to a place where nyani hayi ngokuzenzisa. Uthi ungazazi wena ba uyasokola okanye uyathini. I mean, a few days ago, ndithatha i-recordings zethu emfuleni. I looked at myself. Ndizibona pha and Yayi-conference Shumayela. Ngelam dandiqitile xa conference ndanshumayela kuyo la bhrukhwe ndiyinxibileyo indinxibile itshize inxibileyo indinxibile into endiyaziyo ndiyavutha qha igama lenkosi malibongwe uyesu yinkosi mabasindiswe abantu ndizoyibona ngoku uba yayiluzuko likaThixo olwalundigqumile. Because if ndandingaphandle kuye ndandazibona uba ndiyasokola. Into ebanga ndingazibona uba ndiyasokola kuba ndandikuye qha. Izile nto kaAdam wayengazazibuze de waphuma. So what am I saying to you, beloved? God deals with people. You see, Abraham went to a land. He did not know. Xa unombuza, there are no certainties except that God is faithful. Except that Diametembo was a Calvary. Except that Utetile ndimvile. And you can't take that away from me, ndimvile. I have heard the Lord. I have heard the Lord. And today I stand here. I look at people and I'm saying, wow. If this was the reason, glory be to God. If men and women were raised, glory be to God. Let's go to the next verse. I need to finish now. By faith, he made his home in the promised land like a stranger in a foreign country. He lived in tents, as did Isaac and Jacob, who were heirs with him of the same promise. You see, this is the secret, guy. If you look at the life of Abraham, Genesis chapter 12 from verse 6, Abraham built permanent altars, but he stayed in tents. And that's why people struggle when they landela abantu that God is dealing with. Because that's why abantu your eyes zininzi changes. Because you see, Abraham dealt in temporary tents, but he built permanent altars. Abantu abahamba noThixo ngonontente. You dwell in tents because God can change your address any day. God will say move. God will say go down. God will say go further. And guess what? It's the dealings of God. That's how you know that God is active in a church. The changes. It's the dealings of God. It's the dealings of God. That's why a soft heart is very important. So God made Abraham to dwell in. In fact, it was the wisdom of Abraham to dwell in tents. Amen. It was the wisdom of Abraham to dwell in tents. But the altars he built were permanent. The altars he built were permanent. That's why, if you're going to walk with God, the secret is have a deep worship life. Have deep fellowship with God. So that certainty A1 and yazi but God is with me. God is with me. Kha enye nenye izawubonakala. Thixo uzazibonela. God is with me. The things I'm showing you, we can take the life of any other person, you will see them. These are the secrets of those that God deal with. God is going to challenge you. It's the dealings of God. In the next year, we're probably going to plant 2-3 other churches. By 15 aqomba sifuna babushushu kumande khayelitsha ayihambi ngobumnandi ihamba ngeorders ndiyayazi iservice nabantu abambalwa inonxwe xa baninzi inogunqu xa bambalwa inonxwe and sifuna into ezithe gunqu. But the dealings of God, you see, when we started nanku nosisi saqala kula nosisi, the church started kula nosisi. Do you know who are our first members? Basekon. Oh, Asanda. They were amongst the very first. First. Let's honor her. Stand. Celebrate. I'm sure it's Thanksgiving. Can we stand? Can she stand? Yes. She was among the very first. Yes, among the very first. So, if Tirangandu has neither chincha ngayombuza naye ba. Sichincha noba nayo nento yo hayi shem hayi. Senhleli nje ke ba naye enye indawo kuya ndiyazi enye into ba kuyatshintshwa apha. Kuthiwa senza le kuphinde kwenziwe. That's how it works. We dwell in tents. But we build altars. You see, this is the thing. You cannot question the impact. But you cannot question the impact in the heart of man. You cannot question the changes in the heart of people. That much you cannot question. Question into his needs, but you cannot question. That's why most of the criticism is stuff that we have taught already. Give us the old thing. We want the old thing, all-time religion. God builds precept upon precept, line upon line. As kwazi ukwenza row 1 yesterday sithi yo inhle masihlaleni akwadla manyuke row 2 row 3. So when we add, we are not getting rid of the old. We are building on the old. Amen. Look at the life of David. uDavid wayentoni wayengumalusi. But njengoba esalusa nje udlala music. Njengoba edlala music nje uzoyoseva kwi-army ye-king. Kanti really uyinkosi. You have to dwell in tents in season. That's why when God is working in your life, never be too great to do anything. That's why after church on Sunday, I can still gather chairs. Because I got my heart. I will never outgrow my foundations. Never. I will never outgrow my foundations. Learn to dwell in tents. Learn to dwell in tents. Never get to a place where you feel I'm big. That's the beginning of your becoming small. Learn to dwell in tents. There must never be. If in fact, last week when you asked, did you join worship? You're like, in fact, we are practicing. Yes! Why? You are never too big for anything. If we show the ushers, the net title in that school, I'm ushering. If we show it, that's the secret. Dwell in tents. Listen to this. Iti Bible ngotata Abraham uThera chapter 11. Iti wafike Haran and he settled. What was the next thing? And he died there. Where you settle, you die. You die where you settle. Even in your walk with God, the day that's the beginning of your death. You see, Peter was a powerful man of God. Go Acts chapter 9. God visits him. If you read from Acts chapter 10, God says to him in a vision, he must kill and eat. He says, God, I don't eat these things. Don't call what I've sanctified unholy. Because he was stuck in a certain thing. And God is saying to him, I'm now reaching the Gentiles. But because he got a mind of a Jew, he's saying, no. God says, yeah. I walk with people that dwell in tents. Learn to move with God. Learn to move with God. Because the day you say, I can't go any further, that's where the story ends. These are the dealings of God. Amen. So, I don't know. I've not even preached the real message. I guess I had to bring it down in a certain way. So this Abraham, I want to show you the contradictions as we close. I want to show you the contradictions. uThixo uyamblessa ngemali. uThixo uyamblessa ngemfuyo. Umzi wakhe uyanda. Unabasebenzi. He's got men around him. Everything is working. Ku Abraham yonke lento looks like nothing. He's saying, God, what is this if I don't have a child? That's God. When you walk with God, uhamba so That's why when Jacob had an encounter with God, waqhwalela. Umuntu uhamba noThixo uhamba so. Kukho into esebenzayo, kukho into engasebenziyo. That's how it works. You always have a valley and a mountain in the same season. Ikhona esebenzayo, ikhona engasebenziyo. Ikhona esebenzayo, ikhona engasebenziyo. Wonke umuntu ohamba noThixo kunjalo. There's something big missing, but there's something awesome happening. Abantu xa bekuncoma uma usithi, "Hey babe nisazi." Uthi, "I wish I could bring you in my world nichazele what's really happening. I wish I could tell you because yes, inkosi. I'm talking about the dealings of God. Every man of God has a limp. Everyone God uses has a limp. You can't go with God and walk straight. When God has dealt with you, that's why how udibana nabantu that God has really dealt with. Bangabantu abanenyembezi. Umntu uthi xa msebenzela unenyembezi. Xa ebona intsokolo umbone lila. Oh God, my heart is broken for your people. Ngenelela. Isika deep because uyayazi. Unentsuku engatyi. Kodwa xa eme apha sithi glory to God. Abantu bathi uThixo ukhona kule ndawo. But in real life, this is how they walk. Akekho umuntu ohamba noThixo where everything is working, everything. Ayaphosisi. Iyasebenza ngapha, ayisebenzi ngapha. Uhamba noThixo ufana uba nemoto enhle ungabi namali epetrol. Abantu bayayincoma enhle uqomba okwe 200. Okwe 200. There's always something awesome. But there's always something. Why is that the case? uThixo ufuna uxhomekeke kuye. UPaul uyibeka ngolu hlobo uthi, I know a man in God. He was caught up in the third heavens. He saw things that are illegal to even mention. In other words, he says, look, and he was talking about himself. He's saying, I've seen things in heaven that I can't share with mere men. But the same Paul, you read further, he says, and it was given unto me a thorn in the flesh to buffet me. And he says, 3 times I cried to the Lord, oh God, remove this thorn in the flesh. And the Lord answered, my grace is sufficient for you. Great revelation. A thorn in the flesh. They go together. Yakhumbula uEsther ngokwayilungiselela uba yiqueen iprocess yathini? 6 months with bitter spices. 6 months. Ucutshwa ngezispices ezikrakra. And 6 months with sweet spices. Everyone that walks with God is handling a contradiction of sweet spices and bitter spices. It's the dealings of God. It's the dealings of God. So God will teach you how to depend on Him. Umthembu Thixo. Umthembu Thixo. So if you are here, and this is my last statement. This is so close to my heart. This is a very close message to my heart because I had my fair share. I have tasted some things. I have experienced some things. So I want to be specific right now and talk to somebody. If you are here and you are dealing with contradictions in your life, and on teta you're like, yo, that's my life. Dimkanye lowo. Dim lo ongayaziyo noba kuyayiwa noba kuyabuya. Let me tell you something. When I was at university, all my peers were very clear babazothini. In my heart, I knew I must go full-time straight from school. And ndizoqala ndiyophangela for 2-3 years, then go and ndiye full-time. I knew I must go straight to full-time ministry. I carried that in my heart. I'm going straight to full-time ministry. Do you know what that entailed? That entailed no income for my family. Because my brother was working as a security officer, my elder sister was also in school. It meant no income, but I chose to say yes to God. When everybody knew that I was spending the job, I did not know how ever. I know that I might never have a house. I knew that I might never get married. I might never have these things. It be a reality when I said yes to God. But God proved to me that nothing is impossible with Him. God proved to me that He is faithful. He proved it. And I want to give this word to someone. To have a desire to serve the Lord is not natural. If unomnqweno wokusebenzela uYehova ndifuna uyazi lo mnqweno ayonto ba uthanda izinto. Ayikho natural into yoba umuntu anqwenela usebenza uYehova. Asebenzele uYehova. Ayonto natural. Kahle unnatural uthi ndibawela uba yi-CEO ye. Ndibawela uba yintontoni yapha. Xa unomnqweno osebenzela uYehova, you must know it's not natural. It's the Lord Himself. He has placed that desire. Don't downplay that desire. If you desire in your heart, it's Bible. If anyone desires to be a bishop, if bishop means an overseer, if you desire to be an overseer, a shepherd, it's Bible. You desire a good thing. I want you to know your desire to serve the Lord is not natural. If you tell people, hey, the worship team, I call natural Lord. Act on it. The desire, it's not natural. Act on it. It's not natural. And let me tell you something. The day you say yes to God, what David said, I want to build God a house. God says, forget about it. I will build you a house. The day you choose to build the Lord's house, the Lord Himself will build your house. The Lord Himself. So don't dismiss the nudgings of the Lord. The best time is now. Oh, please, I got clear instructions that I must go full time from the beginning. But what I'm saying is respond to that call. Because uzawuba neengxaki zomuntu obizweyo ubhizi uacta njengomuntu ongabizwanga. Ndithetha uthini? Uzawufana noMoses uhamba ubulala abantu because uyideliver. Moses une-murder case. Uzutshiswa yinto kaThixo. Uzawuma eboardroom ngenye imini uthi nizindlazono nonke including CEO utshiswa yinto kaThixo. Say yes to God quickly. Abanye benu ixesha losebenza nimamela i-preaching emsebenzini. Umamela i-preaching, umamela ingoma, fambusa akho production. Say yes to the Lord. The dealings of God. I know that God is raising many preachers of the gospel in this house. Many preachers. And I want you to say yes to God. I find nentwaso ke le ba awuthi ewe kuThixo into zakho azolunga akho lonto. Uzawulunga into zakho whether uthe ewe whether uthanga ewe, it's up to you, but you'll never get true satisfaction. Because deep down you know there's got to be more. Deep down you know. Otherwise, I call out, if you don't say yes to God, into zakho azolunga. No. God works with the will of men. You have to agree. Amen? I don't know who needed to hear this, but I want you to know that God is faithful. He will see you through. Your day of lifting is nearer than you think. The Lord said one day, and I want you to realize this, and I received it as a word of prophecy. The Lord said one day, your greatness might come through the people you lead. In other words, there's someone in this church that will be far greater than me, that will do far more than I'm doing. And God says, that's where the greatness is. Because sometimes ufuna ukwenza into enkulu abese uThixo raise abantu abazakwenza into ezinkulu. So I know deep down in my heart there are people that will shake the world in their lifetime in this room. There are people that will change their generation in their lifetime in this room. I am confident of that thing. That's why sizinzile kule nto kaThixo. Because why sizinzile? Noma singagxothwa kule address sihlele ezintweni kakade. Into esime ngayo i-altar yona i-permanent. Ungasigxotha kwi-physical address, but the altar is permanent. That's all we know. Sizinzile kule nto kaThixo. Uzibonakalisile. Here's the funny thing. I don't want to talk about many things, but today is literally, this year is literally year number 20 since I came to Cape Town. It was 2003. Today is 2020. I came in October 18th, 2003. It's 20 years. It's 20 years. It's 20 years. So, this is just one man's story. But I know that God is writing your story too. Ezi zinto udlula kuzo ayo coincidence. Ayonto ba ushiyiwe uThixo ubhala ibali lakho. Your story is being written. Let us stand. Let me not take more than I'm supposed to.